Hello, New York Giants fans, and welcome to your Giants News Roundup for Friday, May 20th here on the Big Blue View YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ed Valentine of Big Blue View. Question for you guys today. How are the New York Giants going to replace James Bradberry at cornerback? Obviously, it's a bummer that Bradberry signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about that first. It's a bummer. I understand, that some of you are unhappy with the fact that Bradberry's in the division, that the Giants will have to face him twice in 2022. I get it. It wasn't ideal to have a good player like Bradberry get cut and wind up in the division, with a rival like the Eagles. But when the Giants made the move to cut Bradberry, they did what they thought was best for their franchise. They did what they felt they had to do. They did what they needed to do because they needed the cap space. They needed the money that moving on from James Bradberry would provide. They know they're not winning a Super Bowl this year. The loss of one player is not really going to make or break their season. It's not really going to make or break the rebuild that they have had to undertake here with Joe Schoen as GM and Brian Daboll as head coach. They simply needed the money and they did what they had to do. Where Bradberry landed is unfortunate, but the Giants couldn't be concerned about that and aren't concerned about that. And fans honestly shouldn't be either. But back to the original question, what should the Giants do, or what will they do to replace Bradberry in their lineup this coming season? We got a couple of hints this week. Thursday during OTAs, something that we had speculated on was the possibility of second-year man Aaron Robinson, who played mostly in the slot last year after he came back from his core muscle injury in the second half of the season. Played mostly in the slot. We have been speculating about the possibility that Robinson could get an opportunity to play outside, to step into Bradberry's position. And that is actually what we saw Thursday during the OTA when media had access for the first time, to the Giants OTAs. Robinson worked outside opposite of Dory Jackson with Darnay Holmes in the slot. Now, listen, that might be the alignment, come September when games are played. It might not be. It's still, the tail end of May. There's still several months to go. The Giants could continue to churn the roster over. They could, they could run into a veteran who gets cut, from a team somewhere along the way who could handle that starting role. They could be churning the roster right up to the beginning of the season as teams make cuts to get down to the 53-man roster. So you never know who's going to be on the roster, who's not going to be on the roster, what players are going to come available, who's going to get hurt, who's going to step up in training camp when we get to that point in time, and in the preseason, and earn more playing time, who might regress and earn less playing time. But right now it looks like the Giants want to give Aaron Robinson some snaps on the outside, see if that's a job he can handle. And that's not surprising at all. He probably is next in line in terms of talent, among guys who are cornerbacks in that room. The other thing that the Giants did this week was churn the 90-man roster a little bit. They changed 5 spots on the 90-man roster, and 4 of the players that they brought in are defensive backs, guys with experience at either cornerback or safety. And I asked Brian Daboll about that on Thursday, and he admitted that the Giants needed some extra depth there. They needed more numbers. They needed to add players at that spot. The 4 players they brought in are Maurice Canady, formerly with the Ravens, Jets, and Cowboys. He's the most experienced of the group, has, I think, a full 3 seasons, maybe 3.5 seasons playing in Wink Martindale's defense in Baltimore. Another former Raven they brought in is Khalil Dorsey, guy who's probably a candidate for slot duties. Henry Black from the Green Bay Packers, Michael Jaquette, who has a little bit of experience with both the Eagles and the Jaguars. So I think this is the kind of thing that you can expect from now right up until the season begins, for the Giants to continue to scour the waiver wire, to watch for cuts, to see who's available, to see if there's someone they can pounce on to give an opportunity. But that's pretty much how I think they're going to have to handle the 2022 season. They'll cross their fingers and hope Aaron Robinson can handle that job. And if he can't, they'll continue to churn the depth and see what else they can find, see if they can run into a couple of helpful players along the way. And I would expect that at the end of the 2022 season, going into the 2023 off season, that both in free agency and in the draft, that they will be looking hard at the cornerback market, trying to find a starting caliber corner. Because the reality of it is Adoree Jackson maybe in his last year with the Giants as well. So cornerback is definitely a long-term need for the Giants, especially in a Wink Martindale defense that likes to play so much man-to-man, is very dependent on having outside cornerbacks who can play man-to-man defense. So the Giants will be a work in progress at cornerback in 2022, as they will be in a lot of other areas. I've said many times, you simply can't address every issue in one off season. You can't fix a team entirely in one off season. You have a cap, you have a limited number of draft choices. You do what you can. And as cornerback will be a position that the Giants will have to continue to look to upgrade. But let's hope that Aaron Robinson, can handle that job. Looks like one player who will not be in the competition for the cornerback role is Jaron Williams, young cornerback who originally made the Giants a couple seasons ago out of UAlbany as an undrafted free agent. Williams played a little bit at corner for the Giants the last 2 seasons. Defensive backs coach Jerome Henderson said several times over those couple of years that Williams, played a lot like a safety, had the size and the skill set of a safety. And it looks like the Giants, who need depth at safety as well, are moving Williams to safety. That's where we saw him play earlier in the offseason, and that's where he was stationed on Thursday during the OTA. So it looks like that move is one that the Giants are making as well. All right, Giants fans, thank you as always for listening, for watching. Please remember to subscribe to our channel here on Big Blue View and check out all of our other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, follow us on Twitter, join the community at bigblueview.com. So to communicate, to chat, argue, discuss Giants related topics with other Giants fans. All right, Giants fans, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.